Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Anita Anand with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stones for several development projects in Gujarat. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says government is open to suggestions from farmers. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 95.12%. Centre issues guidelines for mass COVID-19 vaccination drive in the country. And nation pays homage to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel on his 70th death anniversary. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Kutch in Gujarat on a one-day visit to lay foundation stones for three ambitious projects. At Dhordo village helipad, Mr. Modi was received by Gujarat's Chief Minister Vijay Rupani while local people greeted him warmly. Projects include the world's biggest renewable energy park, seawater desalination plant and milk processing dairy plant. This is the first Kutch visit of PM Modi in second term as the Prime Minister. Earlier on arrival at Bhuj Airport, Prime Minister Modi was received by Chief Secretary Anil Mukim and local BJP leaders, and later he flew by helicopter to Dhordo village situated in the White Desert area in Run of Kutch, where public function is to be held in a special venue developed in a tent city. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also attend a cultural program featuring very famous local folk music artists Geeta Rabari and Osman Mir. He is also expected to make a little trip to White Desert during the sunset before leaving for Bhuj. Our correspondent tells us more about the projects being launched today.
The hybrid renewable energy park is one of its kind and world-class green energy project situated beyond India Bridge from Khavda village to Vigha Kot. It will produce 30 gigawatt solar and wind energy on a vast expanse of waste land. The area is controlled by the BSF and the Indian Army. Power Grid Corporation of India would be the nodal agency to channelize electricity generated into the power grid. The desalination plant at Gundiali village near Mandvi in Kutch will convert seawater for potable purposes for nearly 8 lakh people of 300 villages. The plant assumes great importance for Kutch Peninsula, which is perennially rain deficit and without any source of fresh water. The 130 crore rupee milk processing plant of Sarhad Dairy is a part of Rashtriya Kisan Vikas Yojana. It will process 2 lakh litre of milk per day along with packaging facility. Tripti Srivastav, News Desk.
Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways, Nitin Gadkari, has said that the government is open to constructive suggestions from farmers and farmer unions. Talking exclusively to All India Radio News, he said that in situations where it is difficult to convince, many people begin to confuse and misguide. Taking a jab at the opposition parties, Mr. Gadkari said elements who are politically motivated are indulged in building a false narrative. He said the government is ready to sit with the farmers and talk about the Farms Act clause by clause and is also ready to accept positive and constructive suggestions from them with an open mind.
Actually, when it is difficult to convince somebody, some people start confuse them. And this is the story. I feel that there are some elements which are politically motivated, want to misguide the farmers. But we will sit with the farmer. We will tell them everything, act to act, sentence-wise. We can give the presentation and we can understand them. And by which, if suppose there are some good suggestions from them, we are ready, open-minded. We don't have any problem to accept it. So I feel that Agriculture Minister will be succeed to convince them, and we are all trying that.
The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached around 95.12%. During the last 24 hours, 34,477 COVID patients have recovered. Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 94 lakhs and 22,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 3.43% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 3,39,820. During the past 24 hours, over 22,000 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country to over 99 lakhs and 6,000. The ministry said that effective implementation of the strategic and graded test, track and treat approach has led to high recoveries and lower fatality. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.45%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 354 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,43,709. According to Indian Council of Medical Research, more than 9,93,000 tests were conducted during the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has reached over 15 crores and 55 lakhs.
The centre has issued guidelines for mass COVID-19 vaccination drive in the country. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry is planning to vaccinate nearly 30 crore people during the first phase. Pfizer, Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech have applied for market authorization for their vaccines. The vaccination drive will start once the government approves emergency use of the COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine will be offered first to healthcare workers, frontline workers and to persons above 50 years of age. It will be followed by persons younger than 50 years of age with associated comorbidities and finally to the remaining population. The priority group of above 50 years may be further subdivided into those above 60 years of age and those between 50 to 60 years of age for purposes of phasing of rollout. Altogether, 20 ministries will be handling the entire process. The COVID Vaccine Intelligence Network (CoWIN) system, a digitalized platform, will be used to track enlisted beneficiaries for the vaccination and anti-coronavirus vaccines on a real-time basis. At the vaccination site, only pre-registered beneficiaries will be vaccinated in accordance with the prioritization. There will be no provision for on-the-spot registrations. The latest electoral roll for Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly elections will be used to identify the population aged 50 years or more. 12 photo identity documents, including voter ID, Aadhaar card, driving license, passport and pension document, will be required for self-registration on the CoWIN website.
In Odisha, the number of patients who have recovered from COVID-19 has increased to 3,19,458. On the other hand, a total of 3,24,089 persons have been infected so far. The active caseload of the state has come down to 2,767. In the Union Territory of Puducherry, the downward trend in COVID-19 infection continued, with 38 new cases being reported today. More from our Puducherry correspondent.
According to the COVID-19 status report by the Health Department, 24 new cases reported from Puducherry, 7 cases from Karaikal, 6 cases from Mahe and 1 case from Yanam region. Except one death in Puducherry, no death is reported from other 3 regions of the Union Territory today. Meanwhile, 47 persons were discharged from hospitals. Presently, 197 persons are being treated in hospitals and another 99 positive cases are under home isolation, with a total of 296 cases in all the 4 regions of Puducherry. And now, the recovery rate stands at 97.56% and the fatality rate comes down to 1.65%. Chandramohan, AR News, Puducherry.
Telangana reported 491 fresh COVID cases during the past 24 hours. With this, the total COVID cases reported in the state has gone up to 2,78,599. The state conducted about 48,000 tests yesterday. The recovery rate slightly improved to 96.85%, with 596 more people recovering yesterday. This took the number of total recovered people in the state so far to 2,69,828. Meanwhile, the daily bulletin issued by the State Medical and Health Department this morning stated that total of 1,499 deaths reported so far, following 3 more persons succumbing to COVID and comorbidities during the past 24 hours. Currently, the state has over 7,000 active cases, out of which over 5,000 are in home isolation. Meanwhile, 102 new COVID-19 cases were reported in Hyderabad during the past 24 hours, while Rangareddy, Medchal, Malkajgiri, Warangal, Urban and Khammam districts are among those which reported a considerably high number of COVID-19 cases during the same time.
In Mizoram, active cases of COVID-19 infections are declining. So far, 3,869 infected people have been discharged from different COVID care centers after recovery, while the number of active cases has come down to 173. In the past 24 hours, the state has recorded 9 new cases, while 22 patients recovered from the coronavirus infection, taking the tally to 4,049. According to the State Medical Bulletin, the recovery rate has improved to 95.77%. In Tripura too, the number of active cases of COVID-19 is declining. As of today, the number of active cases has decreased to 305. According to the State Health Bulletin, so far 32,344 patients infected with the virus have been cured out of the total 33,048 positive cases registered so far. On the other hand, 10 new cases were recorded with the recovery of 25 infected people in the past 24 hours. As of today, the recovery rate has further improved to 97.94% in the state. The Health Bulletin also stated that over 5,54,000 samples have been tested till yesterday evening.
Madhya Pradesh registers decline in active COVID-19 cases. More than 208,400 patients have recovered from the infection in the state so far. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
Madhya Pradesh registers decline in active COVID-19 cases. As per Health Bulletin of the State Department, 1,084 patients recovered yesterday. 26,831 tests have been carried out yesterday, out of which 1,058 new positive cases were reported. Maximum COVID positive case 402 registered at Indore, followed by 203 at Bhopal. So far, more than 208,400 patients have recovered from COVID. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Bihar, the number of active cases of COVID-19 is continuously declining. Currently, 4,975 patients are undergoing treatment at various hospitals. In all, 635 patients recovered in the last 24 hours, while 425 new cases were reported. 237,372 patients have so far recovered from the infection in the state. Meanwhile, COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 97.41%. This is 2.43% more than the national average. Health Minister Mangal Pandey said that over 1 lakh corona tests were carried out during the past 24 hours. Over 1,68 lakh corona tests have been conducted in the state so far.
Higher educational institutions will open in Uttarakhand today. The state government has issued the Standard Operating Procedure SOP in this regard. According to Chief Secretary Om Prakash, the students coming from outside the state will have to get an RT-PCR COVID test done. Only those will be permitted to join the institution who will test negative. Students will also have to submit consent letter from their parents. The SOP further states that nodal officers authorized by the respective institutions and district authorities will ensure smooth functioning of the entire procedure. Both students and staff will have to compulsorily put on masks and maintain 6 feet distance in the classroom. The respective institutions will see if required classes could be run in additional shifts to accommodate students as per SOP. The News Services Division brings glimpses of the year that was in our special series Year-Ender 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic has been the biggest story of the year, and India has seen a fight back against the disease under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The disease has thrown open new challenges, and data management is a major learning experience in the health sector. A national digital health mission was announced by the Prime Minister on the 74th Independence Day this year. Under this mission, a unique health ID will be provided to every citizen, which will have details of the diseases, diagnosis, report, medication in a common database through a single ID.
भारत के हेल्थ सेक्टर में ये एक नई क्रांति ले आएगा। इलाज में आने वाली परेशानियां कम करने के लिए टेक्नोलॉजी का बहुत सुविचारित रूप से उपयोग होगा। प्रत्येक भारतीय को हेल्थ आईडी दी जाएगी। ये हेल्थ आईडी प्रत्येक भारतीय के स्वास्थ्य खाते की तरह काम करेगी। आपके हर टेस्ट, हर बीमारी, आपको किस डॉक्टर के पास कौन सी दवा ली थी, उनका क्या डायग्नोसिस था, कब दी थी, आपकी रिपोर्ट क्या थी, ये सारी जानकारी इस एक हेल्थ आईडी में आपको समाहित की जाएगी।
Speaking exclusively to AIR News, CEO, National Digital Health Mission, Dr. Indu Bhushan said the mission has been rolled out on pilot basis in 6 union territories and more than 3 lakh health IDs have been created.
The mission has been rolled out on pilot basis in 6 union territories, and so far we have rolled out 3 power building blocks of National Digital Health Mission. Those are Health IDs, Doctors Registry and Health Facility Registry. And under those, the IT infrastructure has been set up. More than 3 lakh health IDs have been created, more than 2,000 doctors have registered, and more than 1,000 hospitals have been registered.
Our correspondent takes a look at how the new National Digital Health Mission will usher in a new revolution in the health sector.
Providing adequate healthcare services requires a sound data management, and the National Digital Health Mission clearly fits the bill. It will digitalize healthcare by creating a countrywide digital health ecosystem. The patients can access and consent to share their health records with doctors and health facilities of their choice. This health account will contain details of every test, every disease, the doctors visited and medicines taken, and the diagnosis. This information will be very useful as it is portable and easily accessible even if the patient shifts to new place and visits a new doctor. Another important aspect is that the data will be secure so that it cannot be misused for commercial gains. The mission is holistic, voluntary healthcare program which will integrate doctors, hospitals, pharmacies, insurance companies and make a digital health infrastructure. The health ID card is created with details like Aadhaar and mobile number and generate unique ID for each individual. The National Digital Health Mission includes Health ID, DigiDoctor, telemedicine, e-pharmacy, healthcare registry and personal health records digitally stored. Digital health cards will help doctors treat patients with their past medical history accessible. The mission will also empower millions of citizens without smartphones or those in remote tribal areas facing connectivity issues to still avail healthcare through its offline modules. The move is being seen as a game changer for the healthcare system of our country and go a long way in addressing the healthcare concerns of the needy, the poor and disadvantaged alike. With Dipendra Kumar, Suparna Saikya, AIR News, Delhi.
You're listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stones for several development projects in Gujarat. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says government is open to suggestions from farmers. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 95.12%. Centre issues guidelines for mass COVID-19 vaccination drive in the country. Nation pays homage to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel on his 70th death anniversary. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. The nation pays homage to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel on his 70th death anniversary today. He was the first Deputy Prime Minister of India and also held the Home portfolio. Fondly known as the Iron Man of India, he brought together more than 500 princely states within India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has paid tributes to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who laid the foundation of an empowered, strong and prosperous India. Home Minister Amit Shah has also paid tribute to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. In a tweet, Mr. Shah said that the life and personality of Sardar Patel cannot be described in words. In Assam, UPPL President Pramod Boro has taken oath as the new Chief Executive Member of the Bodoland Territorial Council, BTC, at Kokrajhar today. BJP, along with Ganesh Suraksha Party, supported the UPPL in the formation of the new council. Assam Chief Secretary Jishnu Barua administered the oath. Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal, State BJP President Ranjit Kumar Das, convener of NEDA, Himanta Biswa Sarma, among others, attended the oath ceremony. Along with Mr. Boro, Govinda Basumatari has taken oath as the Deputy Chief Executive Member, while another 2 council members, one each from BJP and Ganesh Suraksha Party, took oath as executive members of the council. In the recently concluded polls, BPF has won 17 seats, while UPPL got 12 seats. The BJP won 9 seats. Congress and Ganesh Suraksha Party managed to get 1 seat each, but the only member of the Congress joined the BJP yesterday. Pramod Boro, the former leader of the All Bodo Students' Union, was also instrumental in the signing of the BTR Pact with the centre.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief over the demise of eminent scientist Roddam Narasimha. In a tweet today, Mr. Modi said, Roddam Narasimha personified the best of India's tradition of knowledge and inquiry, and he was an outstanding scientist, passionate about leveraging the power of science and innovation for India's progress. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha chaired a high-level meeting at Civil Secretariat in Jammu to steer light metro rail projects for Jammu and Srinagar. The representatives of Maha Metro gave a PowerPoint presentation regarding the works related to the project, besides highlighting the key issues on Jammu and Srinagar metro rail corridors. It was informed that the Jammu light rail system will have a 23-kilometer length with 22 stations between Bantalab and Bari Brahmana. Srinagar light rail system will have a 25-kilometer length, which included 12.5-kilometer length from Indiranagar to HMT Junction and 12.5-kilometer length from Hazuri Bagh to Osmanabad with 24 stations, 12 stations on each corridor. The Lieutenant Governor stressed on speedy implementation and directed that the project, once approved, should be completed within 2 years from the date of commencement.
In Karnataka, the State Legislative Council adjourned sine die following forceful removal of Deputy Chairman S.L. Dharmegowda of the Legislative Council from the chair by the Congress MLCs. Having physically removed Dharmegowda from the chair, Chandrasekhar Patil of the Congress occupied it, with the party's MLCs standing guard. They wanted Pratap Chandra Shetty, the chairman of the council, to occupy it, even as ruling BJP MLCs protested. In Maharashtra, the proceedings of the state legislature on the second and last day of the winter session is underway. The opposition BJP hit out at the ruling Mahavikas Aghadi government and demanded a discussion on the Shakti law that is likely to be passed in the Legislative Assembly. The bill approved by the state cabinet aims to curb crimes against women and children in Maharashtra. The Act has provisions for stern punishment, including the death penalty, life sentence and hefty fines against perpetrators.
The Chief Minister's office had said that 2 bills will be tabled in the legislature to give shape to the law against perpetrators of crime against women and children. Leader of opposition in Legislative Assembly, Devendra Fadnavis, said that the issue be debated at length as the act is very important in nature. He said that for the effective implementation of law, the bill should be sent to the Joint Scrutiny Committee and should be taken up in the next session. In another development, Speaker Nana Patole has granted extension of time to submit report to the Privilege Committee till the last day of the next session of the state legislature. Shiv Sena legislator Pratap Sarnaik had submitted breach of privilege notice against actor Kangana Ranaut and senior journalist Arnab Goswami. Patole said the derogatory comments made by Ranaut and Goswami against Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray amounted in insulting the state as a whole. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Rashtriya Kamdhenu Ayog organized a national webinar on Kamdhenu chair in universities and colleges in association with the UGC, AICTE and AIU. Ayog Chairman Dr. Vallabhbhai Kataria appealed to all the Vice-Chancellors across India and college heads for starting Kamdhenu chair in every university and college. Speaking on the occasion, Minister of State for Education Sanjay Dhotre applauded the initiative of the Kamdhenu chair. He stressed the time has come and we will support this initiative. The minister expressed confidence that a few colleges and universities will start the Kamdhenu chair, then others will follow. He added that research and practical implementation in the form of products need to be showcased, established economically and presented with accurate scientific data in a time-bound manner.
Bihar Assembly Speaker Vijay Kumar Sinha has constituted 22 committees of the House. Out of these, maximum number of chairmanship of 7 committees has gone to BJP, followed by 6 RJD, 5 Janata Dal United, Congress 2, and 1 each to Hindustani Awam Morcha, HAM, and CPI-ML. Surendra Yadav from RJD will hold the crucial Public Accounts Committee. Nand Kishore Yadav of BJP has been made chairperson of the Estimate Committee, while Prem Kumar will head the Petitions Committee. Hari Narayan Singh from JDU has been made chairman of the Public Enterprises Committee. Tej Pratap Yadav has been made head of the Non-Government Resolution Committee. Former Chief Minister Jitan Ram Manjhi from Hindustani Awam Morcha will head the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Committee. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the decision to open up India's space sector has heralded a new age of public-private partnership. Mr. Modi expressed confidence that Indian talent will achieve worldwide fame in space sector in the same way it did in the IT sector. Prime Minister was interacting with key industries, startups and academia from the space sector via video conferencing to encourage their participation in space activities yesterday. Mr. Modi said professionalism and transparency in policies as well as the decision-making process of the government will prove beneficial for the companies joining the field. Prime Minister assured the participants of complete and wholehearted support of the government in their efforts. Mr. Modi said India is making remarkable strides in space sector, which has witnessed path-breaking reforms this year. Prime Minister spoke of the space sector's significance in communication and navigation and expressed hope that the country will soon become the manufacturing hub of space assets.
People in Ladakh region are celebrating Ladakhi New Year Losar today. Due to considerable COVID-19 cases in Leh and strict SOPs in place, this year Losar is observed in a low key. Here is more from our Leh correspondent.
Following strict COVID guidelines, people of Ladakh have observed Ladakhi New Year Losar today. Symbolic Losar celebrations and special prayers are held at Chokanga Vihara in Leh. Celebrations began with a puja for freedom from COVID pandemic, world peace and brotherhood. Ladakh Buddhist Association's Youth Wing and Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council Leh jointly organized symbolic events at Chokang Vihara. In the morning, amidst chanting of religious scripts, a traditional flag tarchan was hoisted to mark the beginning of New Year. Artists sang a song on the evolution of world and clarion call to fight the evils to maintain the world peace. Amidst drum beats, ceremonial celebrations, dance also performed. While greeting Ladakhi people for safe and happy Losar, Lieutenant Governor R.K. Mathur appreciated the public for limiting the celebrations to their homes and with their families given the COVID-19 pandemic situation. He commended the frontline workers for their sincere and laborious efforts in dealing with the pandemic. Ramesh Chandra, All India Radio News.
Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas and Steel Dharmendra Pradhan has called upon the oil and natural gas companies in the private sector to actively participate in Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, distributing awards of Swachhata Pakhwara 2020 and Swachhata Hi Seva 2019 movement to the oil and gas PSUs. Yesterday, Mr. Pradhan said that the petroleum industry has thrown its weight behind the expansion and intensification of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan as a Jan Andolan.
The first COVID-19 vaccination in the United States has taken place as the country gears up for its largest ever immunization campaign. U.S. President Donald Trump announced the administration of the first COVID-19 vaccine on Twitter. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital is expected to have a cold day. Minimum temperature was 4 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 20 degrees. Leh is expected to have a mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was -8 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 3. Gilgit will have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. Temperature will hover between -4 degrees to 13 degrees. Muzaffarabad is expected to have a mainly clear sky. The temperature will move between 3 to 15 degrees. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stones for several development projects in Gujarat. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says government is open to suggestions from farmers. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 95.12%. Centre issues guidelines for mass COVID-19 vaccination drive in the country. And nation pays homage to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel on his 70th death anniversary. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com. news.air.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the midday news.